project, I'll be wrapping this Labradorite gemstone, oval shaped gemstone. And I'm going to be using some 3mm hematite beads, 20 gauge copper wire, and 26 gauge copper wire. And they're both silver coated, non-tarnish. Correction, this is 24 gauge wire, not 26. The stone is quite small. It's only 1/4 of an inch wide and exactly 1/2 of an inch in length. I'm going to start by cutting 2 lengths of the 20 gauge wire at 8 inches each. Now I'll take 10 inches of the 24 gauge wire. I'll use a Sharpie to mark the center of those wires, all 3 wires. The center would be at 4 inches for the 8-inch wire and 5-inch mark for the 10-inch wire. To make sure that they equal in distance where I put the Sharpie mark, I measured the 10-inch wire. I took away 1 inch on this end and 1 inch on the other end, and then I just placed the 8-inch wire right there. It's just an inch difference on either side, basically, and that way I'll make sure that all the wires are aligned. And at this point, I do have the thinner wire in the center. Now I'm going to take a small piece of the 24 gauge wire, and right there at the Sharpie point, I'm just going to make 2 wraps around all the wires with the 10-inch wire in the middle. And then I'll just trim that piece. So there's actually 3 wraps. And I'll trim this piece off. Next, I'm just going to bend these middle wires down a bit and go ahead and take the stone and wrap the wire around the stone. Just to get that shape. Now I'll take the beads and thread 6 on one side and 6 on the other side of the middle wire. Alrighty, one more for here. Alright, that side has 6. Now I'll just go ahead and do the other side, put 6 on that side. I'll just bend this wire down just a bit so the beads won't slide off on both sides there. And I'll just go ahead and bend the wire at the top for the neck. I'm going to go ahead and wrap the neck, wrap some wire around the neck here. Let's take away the stone for a second. I'm just going to grab maybe probably an inch of wire and wrap it around the neck here. 24 gauge wire. I left it on the spool and I'm going to wrap it maybe 3 or 4 times. And then I don't like really working on the spool, so I'm just going to cut a long piece. Maybe 6 inches or so, 7 inches. So I cut it off the spool. Now I'm just going to spread these wires out a bit. The front and the back. Spread them out over the back of the stone here. Then I will take one side of the beads and place it right in between there. And do the other side as well. All right. Then I will continue the wire from one side of the bead, wrapping it around the neck, and the other one around the neck as well. Just a few times. Then I'll turn the stone, turn the frame over to the back. As you see, the stone just fell out. So now is the time to secure that stone. Just bend those back wires in. Put that stone back. That way it'll hold its place. So that long wire that I cut earlier, I'm just going to wrap that around first bead and around to the back and onto the other side and around that bead and back around to the front and around the next bead and over the front to the next bead, back around the back again, around each bead, and ended that wire on the back. I'll probably do something with it, but I'm not sure yet, so I'm just gonna leave it. But for now, these 2 wires here that the beads are on, I'm going to use that to finish the frame. Finish the bail. So I'm gonna go ahead and shape the bail here. I think I'm gonna trim some of these wires first. Now I'm just gonna leave the 4 wires. Let's see how that looks. Bend forward. Go ahead and get my bail pliers. And then I'll use this wire to wrap around the bail. I'm going to go ahead and trim this wire here. I don't really need it. Let's trim this wire off. Inside the bail. So I'm just left with these here, which I will trim and then finish off this by wrapping it probably around here. We'll see. Let's go ahead and get these trimmed. Just tucking them a bit, just so they won't be sharp ends sticking out. And this wire here, I'll just make a little swirl with it. And tuck it inside there. Tuck this last piece right inside that bail there. And I'll trim that now. And let's hide that. All right. And there we have it. I think it came out nicely. Had a couple of improvisations as usual, but the finished product I think looks great. The back doesn't look too bad either. So there we have it. So thanks for joining me for another episode of From Free to You. We'll see you next time. Bye bye for now.